Item 5 is SE 18-026 proposed farm under section 27. Yeah.
Corresponding first.
Yes, let me finish reading it. 66 River Road, Jeffrey and Mr. Cashman. Okay, is there correspondence?
From Adam Moore, Monday, August 13, 2018, to Kathy S. King, Michael Rossi, regarding agenda item 5-SE-026. As I will not be in attendance at the meeting this evening, I wish to have the following statements read into the record. While I am currently neither in favor or opposed to this application, I take exception to the multiple requests to waive documentation required by our zoning regulations to accompany this application for the following reasons. 1. The waiver of documentation required by our regulations sets a precedent that any applicant can request a waiver of these requirements. 2. With all the rumors of scandal this commission has faced over the past few years, the perception that the commission has waived requirements for a commission member could be very dangerous. 3. The commission required all the documents to be provided for a similar application, 16-098, stockpiling of wood chips in an I-2 zone, which was ultimately denied. Waiving our requirements on this application can open the door for the applicant with 16-098 to bring suit against the commission. Adam Moore.
Thank you. Anything? Okay. Is there an agent or applicant here for this?
I am. Good evening, Attorney Ed Casello, representing Jeff Cashman. This is a application for special permit on the property of 66 River Road. The purpose of the application is to obtain zoning compliance for the activities that are going on the property. So we submitted the application and it wasn't accepted at the initial meeting that the commission held. We had a meeting with the subcommittee and got a checklist of information that was requested to be provided and have a number of documents in response to the discussion that we had, including a checklist of the items that are submitted as part of this response and the additional waivers that are requesting still outstanding to be requested. All we want is to have this application accepted and a public hearing scheduled on the matter. I can go through the specific waivers that we're requesting since that seems to be the hot topic button because they're limited to, there's 2 requested waivers at this point in time. The first is a waiver of the 2-foot topographical grading shown on the site plan. And the second is a waiver of the regulation which requires all of the trees to be shown on the site plan. So those are the 2 waivers that we're requesting. Your regulations also have a excusal that's available for certain sections where it's inapplicable. The applicant is requesting excusal of the architectural plans. There's no new structure being proposed. We're requesting an excusal of lighting plan. There's no new site lighting being proposed. Minimal site lighting to begin with. Excusal of the traffic plan. We provided photographs and dimensions on the new site plan of the sight lines that are available. We're requesting excusal of a landscaping plan. No new landscaping is being proposed. And we're requesting excusal of the sedimentation and soil erosion control plan. And again, from my perspective, those things can be taken up now at the public hearing. But that's my position. Again, the goal of the application is to get it in front of the commission for a public hearing. And if the commission at that point grants it under review of the zoning regulations, review of the special permit criteria, review of the statutory laws of applicable standards, then we would achieve zoning compliance. But we need to get to that step. So that's what we're asking for tonight. I have 15 copies of the documentation, including updated site plans and the checklist, which mirrors what you guys have together with the responses and where the response can be found. I'm happy to distribute them now.
Yes,
I'm happy to submit them tomorrow.
Thanks,
emailed. Obviously, can answer any questions, but hopefully the materials speak for themselves.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to ask a couple questions that I think are important, and that is, there are a few things that on the list that said they would be shown and or that they needed to be either clarified or will be added. And I'd like you to just go through the list and tell us where, you know, verbally where those are, to make sure that this is actually complete.
Yeah, and the key documents I think are going to be the site plan and the statement of use, which is the first Word document behind the Excel spreadsheet. And the statement of use includes the stormwater management plan as well. And then most of the other information is supporting material. So do we want to just go down the list?
Yes, please.
The first question was clarifications regarding hours. So the statement of use has been revised. Statement of use has been now broken up into two different sections. Residential, obviously this property is residential with livestock poultry farming with specified hours for the compost, mulch, and manure farming noted on the statement of use. Parking shown on the site plan. A few different areas of parking have been scaled and shown. Near the house, there's several spaces. Spaces in front of the house, spaces behind the house, spaces near the frame barn, and so that's the parking that's shown on the site plan. Let's keep going. Building sizes and infrastructure. A number of small buildings have been added to the plan with dimensions where appropriate. Sheds, frame barn was on there, chicken coops, corn crib, farm stand, house. Next, I think we have location map. A location map has been provided in the materials given to you. It's a Google shot that looks like this in the materials.
Excellent. I have a question. So let's go back before you start rushing. How many parking spots are the?
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry to interrupt. If we're talking about accepting something for and setting a public hearing, I don't think it's appropriate for the commission to be asking detailed questions about the contents of the site.
Whether it meets the zoning regs, I think is something that needs to be discussed during the public hearing.
What I'm concerned with is just that it's complete.
And Mr. Chairman, didn't you have a subcommittee that did this to find out?
Right, and the subcommittee had several items that they identified as not there, and I'm just checking that these.
Unknowns.
Correct. We needed, the subcommittee did its job. I just want to see that the applicant has followed through and met those. That's all we're doing.
Mr. Chairman, I just, Ken Slater for the record, town attorney, when the time is appropriate, we do have a recommendation on how you should proceed with what's been submitted tonight, which essentially is simply to schedule a public hearing and to refer it to the subcommittee to review that so that both staff, subcommittee will all have an opportunity to review it before the public hearing. You've already accepted the public hearing, you've already accepted the application, so it's mandatory that the public hearings start. So tonight's your last date to set the public hearing date, unless you have a special meeting between now and then. So a lot of this work, and certainly respect asking to making sure that the checks, that the boxes are checked, but getting into a discussion premature, we think, because the material has just been submitted tonight, and it will be the subject of a public hearing in which Mr. Casella is going to have to make a full presentation, at which point the commission will have had an opportunity to study this material. Your staff will have an opportunity to do that as well, and presumably you'll hear from your subcommittee also.
There appears to be dispute as to whether this application has been accepted or not accepted
It's been received.
as received.
Mr. Casella just said he didn't accept it as part of his.
I don't know, I wasn't on the first.
The correct thing, what we did was we received it.
Received it as did not set a public hearing.
We, correct.
Can I ask Mr. Casella a question?
Well,
Excuse
again,
me.
it's related to the completeness of it.
Exactly. So if you bear with me, Ms. Knight, has anybody spoke to you or your client about rescinding some of the waivers? Or at any point, did anybody say to you or your client that you may want to reconsider that because it is highly unlikely that it could move forward with those exceptions? Let me finish. What normally would happen in our office is somebody would come into land use, they would put the application in, the application would be reviewed by Julie and Eric. At that point, many of us have done it, Julie and Eric would say, are you sure you want to move forward with this? Because historically, these items have never been waived, and that it could put the entire application in jeopardy. Did anybody mention that to you or your client?
Not in this application. I have had past applications with the commission and I requested waivers in certain instances. So I'm familiar with the process. There was actually a waiver request in the original submission. The waiver request was fine-tuned following the meeting with the subcommittee, Torrance Downs and Rich Roberts, the attorney. Sanitary system is shown. I think that's the next item. Shown in front of the house. Signage is an existing shop sign. We provided a photograph of it. I don't know if you want to wait to see everything in the packet.
No, I'm just,
Waiver requested, as I said, of a site plan that shows 2-foot grading intervals, contours. That's one of the waivers that's being requested. 4.64A. Buildings proposed, existing buildings are shown, more clarified on the plan as we discussed. Buildings existing, septic system, those are shown on the revised site plan. Trees is 4.64F. That's the second waiver that's being requested, is to show every tree that's on the property. So we're requesting a waiver of that. Clearing limits of disturbance. The existing vegetation is shown on the site plan as revised. Stormwater plan has been, the statement of use has been amended to include a specific section on stormwater management. Well location has been shown on the plan. Soil testing, there's no change in the utilization of the sanitary system. The residential houses remain the same. Special site features, there's ledge that's on the northernmost portion of the property, that's shown on the revised plan. 4.65 is just the general waivers, the waiver process. And then we talk about 4.7, 4.8, 4.9, 4.10, 4.11, which the language in the regulation is a little bit different. It's not necessarily a waiver, it's a excusal of those. So we requested excusals, as I said earlier, and we have an updated waiver/excusal sheet that's right after the statement of use, which outlines specifically what we're asking for excusal from. Those are the architectural plans, lighting plans, traffic plans, landscaping plans, sedimentation and erosion control. I think that's everything that we were requested to respond to.
At this time, Ken, did you want to say anything else about your recommendations?
Just to elaborate on what you stated before, the question of whether or not a waiver should be granted really deals with compliance with the zoning regulations, and that is all going to be subject to the public hearing. So the public should have an opportunity if, for example, the 2-foot interval, some members of the public think that should be waived, that we need a more detailed plan than that, or others that would argue that that's perfectly acceptable information that's been submitted and the waiver is appropriate. All that should happen in the context of the public hearing. Now, during the course of the public hearing, if it's clear that the commission thinks that some additional information is necessary, the public hearing will be kept open because, you know, there's consensus that a particular waiver is not going to be granted. But you shouldn't take that up until the applicant has an opportunity to present to you and the public have an opportunity to comment. And then you could go through the waiver request and then and proceed with the application as waived. If certain waivers are not accepted or refusals are not accepted, you know, the application would be denied and then be required to resubmit. Or, I would say more commonly, if it's something that could be submitted at a continued public hearing, the public hearing would be kept open and you'd ask the applicant to do that. So our advice tonight is simply schedule this as a public hearing. I presume that since you had the subcommittee taking a look and coming up with a list, that you might have the subcommittee review this new submittal and make a report to the full commission. That's not necessary, but you could do that. But the one thing that is necessary is scheduling it for the public hearing. As Mr. Downs' report to you indicates, you'd be within the 65-day time frame to start the public hearing if you had it at your regularly scheduled September meeting. If not, you need to have it within just a couple of days after that, or of course you can have it before that. But one option available to you is to have it at your regularly scheduled meeting. One option you don't have is to not schedule the hearing, because I use the word accepted. A lot of people will use accepted and received sort of interchangeably. What I mean is the statutory obligation to go forward with having a public hearing. And that the application has been received or accepted for that point doesn't mean you've determined that it's in compliance with the regulations, but it is required to proceed under the ordinary course. So recommendation is to schedule a public hearing and at your discretion determine whether or not you want your subcommittee to review the materials and report after the beginning of the public hearing.
Thank you. Okay. Any discussion?
I wasn't quite clear, so if the waivers, when are the waivers decided upon by us?
Our recommendation is you decide the waiver after you've given the applicant an opportunity to demonstrate why the application should be approved and the waiver is granted. And the members of the public should have an opportunity too. If, for example, you know, there's a request here regarding a traffic study, the public might say, oh, it's really important here, and why? And you could consider that in making your ultimate decision as to whether or not the waiver is required. So the applicant should be able to make his case as to why the waivers and excuses should be granted, but the public should also have an opportunity to advocate if they support it, to support the waivers or oppose the waivers. And at that point, you can make a decision and on the waivers. And obviously, if they've not submitted something and they've asked for a waiver, and you say no, they're not in compliance. So one thing you could do is, if you've reached that conclusion that you're not going to grant the waiver, you could do that before you close the public, take up the waivers before you close the public hearing. Give the public an opportunity, everybody have an opportunity. You could close the public hearing and then decide the waivers in the application. If you deny this in the waiver, then you deny the application, and the applicant would have to refile and submit the additional information. Alternatively, you could keep the public hearing open for the purposes of having all the information submitted, but you could just go ahead and discuss the waivers so that you have the opportunity to decide to continue the public hearing after the additional information is submitted or not. And that's really your call. You can do it either way. But what we do advise very strongly is you don't take the question up until the public has had an opportunity to comment on the waivers.
So we're going to vote on it during the public hearing?
You could, on the waivers alone. If you wanted to, you could close the entire public hearing, or you could wait until everybody submitted all their information on the application as presented, including the waivers, and then have the discussion and vote during the public hearing. Nothing prohibits you from doing that with respect to the waivers. And then if any one of the waivers are not granted, you can keep the public hearing open, and the applicant knows that it will need to submit the additional information if it's going to be able to comply with the regulations. You could opt to just simply close the public hearing, but what that will definitely require would be a refiling and restarting the whole process. When, if, for example, there's only one of the several things you've asked for, or they've asked for a waiver, you deny, they might be able to respond quickly to that. Mr. Cassell might stand there and say, you know, if you don't give us that waiver, you know, we can't comply in a month, and then, you know, effectively a denial. But, you know, that's your alternative. You have that option either way, whether you do that vote during the public hearing, after everyone's given an opportunity to hear it, or whether you simply close the public hearing. Once you close the public hearing, you can't, you know, reopen it again and say, okay, we want them to come back next month with, you know, architectural plans or something like that. Does that make sense?
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, can I just make a point that
Well, no. What I wanted to check is so that I know what the exact public hearing date is.
Got that here, right?
September
The 17th is the regular monthly meeting.
And we have a planning and zoning public hearing tentative on the 5th.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
Yes.
Yes. That's the date I was looking for on my calendar. I found the
It's
thing.
Wednesday of,
Okay, so what the recommendation would be then is to schedule this for a public hearing on September 5th at 7 p.m.
So moved.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. Thank you.
See you then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll be back to the green on that.